Wanted to greet everyone again. I'm Lesley Garber. I'm your board treasurer, and I'm standing in today. So I'm so glad that you're all here. So the topic for today is how unity changed my life. And I've already given a talk, granted it was about 2 years ago, of my journey and my story and all that stuff. And I don't really want to repeat all that right now. And instead, I want to kind of focus on categories of things that unity has done for me that I hope might be relatable to you and your journey and things that you might get out of unity as well. So let's see if it works out that way. And of course, I left my notes. Sorry.
You're so excited to get up there.
I am so excited today. I had lots of puppy snuggles this morning, so started my day off right. So I came here in about 2011, and at the time was seeking, like many of us, a community to be a part of, a spiritual community, someplace to learn and grow. And I investigated many options, looked at the Buddhism thing, went over to the Unitarians, and then came here. And of course, I think Danita spoke to this when she spoke a couple weeks ago. And as you all know, when you walk in here, you can just feel the love. It's a palpable feeling. You can see people hugging each other. They seem actually happy to be there. Who is happy to go to church? Really? Yay, good. We are, but not everybody is. I was Catholic growing up, and we had to go to church no matter what. Even if we were sick, which is probably not a good idea. But I grew up, and most of you probably did too at some point, being taught what to think, being taught what to do, learning that rituals are important just for the sake of doing a ritual. And unity offered a community of people who didn't think like that, which I really, really treasured, and I hope you do too. In unity, we are taught to think for ourselves. We have principles, yes, but we can interpret them in any way that we wish. And you don't get to say that about many churches. So that was the first thing that I really took from this place. And I really, all growing up, moving around over my childhood and different experiences, never really felt like I totally fit in. And this has been the one place where I feel like this is my home. This is my family, outside of my family. And I don't even fit in my family because my two sons declare that they are atheists, and my husband's just kind of floating along, doing his thing. And he doesn't know what he thinks. So I sometimes ask him, do you believe in God? And he says, well, I think so. So it's nice to come here and be with people who also feel some of the same things that I do about spirit. It's a very rare commodity, and I'm so blessed to have this, and I know you are too. So that was the first thing that I think about unity that really changed my life. And the second thing, this is actually kind of what drew me to unity in the first place, which doesn't surprise me, but was a principle number 3 of our 5 basic principles, the law of mind action, the idea that our thoughts can produce experiences in our lives. And I actually, before I came to Unity, became interested in the law of attraction and that kind of thing. And I thought, well, who is there to talk about with this stuff? And somebody mentioned that Unity had a lot of CDs that you could listen to from Jerry and Esther Hicks. So that's kind of why I was drawn to this place in the first place. And then I learned about all the other stuff. But that concept because my whole life, I got to tell you, my mother's favorite phrase was, nothing in life is fair or free. That was my family's motto. So we were always looking out for the next catastrophe. We were always being prepared for the worst. And those things happened. And no wonder. When I look back on my family's existence and their attitudes and all these things, I can kind of see why these things happened. And it was just mind-blowing for me to come into a place where you could say, if I change my thoughts, things in my life will change. And it shattered everything. My whole brain was on overload, and I thought, oh my gosh, this can't possibly work. So, of course, I tested it out. And I'll give you just a little law of attraction prosperity story, and I'll make it short. I decided at one point, I have 2 boys, and they were younger, obviously, at the time, and I wanted to be the soccer mom. I wanted to have a big SUV. I always had like Priuses and small cars. But I wanted to have a big SUV just one time. And I wanted to carry all the sports equipment and take the kids camping and all this stuff. So I decided that I wanted an SUV. But I didn't really want to pay for it, and I didn't want a car payment. So I said to the universe, I want an SUV that I pay for in cash. No payments. I did not have the money for that at the time. I had some money that we had saved, but I didn't have all of it. But nevertheless, I planned, I researched, I even test drove a vehicle, picked one out. We had it all ready. I even ordered like a rack to go on top of it, and we planned and we planned. And within a space of 2 weeks of making that decision, I had a large refund come through through the IRS for taxes that they thought they owed me from back in my residency days when I was in training. It was a very large refund. And then at the same time, we got a bonus at work. And lo and behold, I had exactly the amount of money that I needed to buy the SUV. Woohoo! It was an Acura, and I called it my Angel Acura. So that was my first real foray into manifesting something specific. And I thought, oh my goodness, this actually works. I can use this on many different levels in my life, manifesting different people, manifesting abundance in different ways, and just manifesting a positive attitude. My family was very judgmental, and I was too. I even got in trouble for it early on in my career for saying something to a patient that was, in retrospect, fairly rude. And it's not me, but it just popped out. My parents popped out of my mouth. And so, but changing that attitude, coming to a sense of acceptance, sending good love and vibes to other people so that those things would return to me, and it was a cycle, all came from the law of attraction, the law of mind action, and unity. And I never would have seen that. I haven't seen that kind of attitude anywhere else. You just don't see it. At least I don't. So that was the other thing that really means a lot to me. It just has, again, changed everything in my life. The third thing was the idea of prosperity. And I remember being in a prosperity class with Joanne Icavino, and we each got to choose a little book from the little prosperity collection to go along with the course. And I chose a book on prosperity, and Joanne goes, a doctor? Getting a book on prosperity? What? But I have come to realize that prosperity and abundance it's not just money. It really, truly is not. Yes, money is nice and money does things, but it's the people that I'm with. It's my family. It's my friends. It's experiences at work with my patients, and all of these things that, we had a very poverty mind growing up, and again, expecting the worst for everything. And I just turned around to expect the best. And at one point, I started reading, again, the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. And it's a fairly thick book, but I read it over Christmas vacation, and I don't know why, it just struck me at the time as being very meaningful. and I underlined things and highlighted things and said affirmations out loud and prayed and meditated every day. And as I did that kind of spiritual work, which I learned, you can't just go to church just like everywhere else, be here for an hour each week and expect for changes to happen in your life. I finally learned that I actually had to do something myself. So I guess I was only going to do 4 things, but really that's the 5th thing, that I had to put in the spiritual work in order to achieve spiritual growth. So that was my way of doing it. It was just going through that spirit-led process of achieving prosperity in my soul. And recognizing that, like we said on our affirmation, God is the source of our supply. Nobody else. Nothing. It's not me doing it. It's not you doing it. It's not the workers in the farm that are doing it. God orchestrates everything. Spirit orchestrates everything, if that's a better term for you. And so coming to realize that, I even used that phrase, God is the source of my supply, in different ways as one of my passwords, so I could remind myself every day that that's where my source of my supply came from. Again, earth-shattering. Most of us are taught that no pain, no gain. The harder you work, the further you get. Hard work and toil is the only way to achieve things, and so on and so forth. And again, was steeped in that as a child and as a teenager, and even into college. You had to really work hard to get those grades. But God is the source of everything. And that's true for us as a community as well. And I think I like to be reminded of it all the time, which is why it's part of my password. But we all need to be reminded that abundance and helpful people and wisdom and all of those things come from the universal creator who manifests everything and is in every one of us all the time. The 4th thing, all these different things kind of led up to me finally getting into a period of actual spiritual growth. I was kind of laying the groundwork. I loved the music. I love to sing, as you know. And once I finally started doing the work, my spiritual growth started to take off, and I started to learn more. I started to read other things. And then one day, about 2 years ago, I was trotting down the hallway, and I went out and got one of my patients because my nurse was running behind. And I brought the patient into the exam room, and all of a sudden, I had this flash of deep, deep connection with God. It almost like I had a direct connection. And that was fairly awkward. I'm in the middle of an exam room with a patient, and all of a sudden I'm struck by this sudden realization that God is hidden in my heart. I didn't know that until that day. I didn't really know it. I thought it. I heard other people say it. But then I knew it. And it was just amazing. I managed to get through my day. I sat at my desk at the end of the day and I thought, oh my God, I'm insane. People are going to think I'm crazy and they're going to throw me in the loony bin because I'm insane. So I struggled with that for a little bit, but for the next 2 weeks, I kind of went about my days just raking in is not the right word, but just soaking in, that's the right word, soaking in the divine love, the divine wisdom, the tremendous gratitude that I had for this newfound, really, truly in my heart knowledge. And I floated along, and here's another silly law of attraction story, but I love it. We have a joke in my family that no matter what grocery line I pick out, it will always be the longest one, period. It doesn't matter if it's the shortest one to begin with. It will be the longest one by the time I get there. So one day I'm at the grocery store and I'm walking along peaceful, just kind of floating almost. And I just get in this aisle, and I'm walking down the aisle, and I walk straight up to the counter, no line, checked out within 3 minutes, and was gone. Had never happened to me before. Never, ever, ever. And it still doesn't happen anymore. I think I kind of slipped back, which is disappointing. But it just was a sign to me that I was in the flow, and I was just following where I was meant to go. And that is my hope for all of us. And all of us have probably been in the flow at one point or another. And certainly it doesn't still continue to happen for me every single day. I have moments, and I cherish those moments. But I think the knowledge of that experience is that I know that that's who we really are. When we say God is within us, it's not just words. It's truth. Reverend Patty used to call it capital T truth. And I think it fits in this case. But it's truth. And not having come to unity, staying in my little, well, I was rebelling against Catholicism, so I wasn't really Catholic anymore. But staying in that mode and just being unsatisfied with life and just going through the motions, I never would have realized that. And now I've been able to teach my kids a little bit about some of the things that I learned, so I'm hoping to pass some of it on to the next generation. One son is a little more receptive than the other. The others basically said, give it up, Mom. What are you going to do? So, but I can pass it on to other people. I've been working downstairs with the kids, and last weekend we had a new girl, and she had some questions come up, and I was able to share my unity blessings with her to the next generation. And all of you can share with people that you know too. And that's the blessing. So we talk about empowering people, and we talk about nurturing spiritual growth in inclusive, loving community, and we talk about building community. And we're always on that path. We're always in a position where we can invite someone in, we can be accepting of other people, and whatever things they come with. And it is just such an amazing thing. Unity really, really has changed my life. And I know that for each and every one of you, there's something special too, or you wouldn't be here. And in this moment, I am so grateful for each and every one of you. You all have contributed to being in this community and raising our consciousness together, loving each other. What on earth could be better than that? Just think what the world would be like if more people could do this with us, or even in their own way. It doesn't have to be our way. Everybody's path is different, and everybody's path can be meaningful. But just in terms of just generalities, that love, that connection, that consciousness, very precious. Unfortunately, a little more rare than I would like to see, but very precious. So as usual, I don't always fill up all the time, so that's true today as well. I don't know. Let's take this into meditation. And Angela's not back yet because I didn't talk as long as I was supposed to. So we'll do it without the music. So go ahead and put your feet on your floor and put away any distractions that you might have. And if you feel comfortable, please close your eyes. Today, June 23rd, as every other day is special. We know that each one of us in this room has something special to offer everyone else. We have something special to offer the planet, other people, children, everyone. And we know, without a doubt, that the universal spirit of prosperity, of love, of kindness, of peace, resides within our hearts. And all we have to do whenever we question that is take a moment to do what we're going to do now. And we're going to focus on our heart, because that's where all that stuff lives. If you want to put your hand on your heart so you can kind of feel it beating and feel the warmth, that would be fine. If not, no worries. But it always helps me. And imagine your heart with a color that you like, a color that represents love to you. And we feel that love and see that color swelling, taking up our whole chest. We breathe in love to expand our heart, expand it throughout our entire bodies. And then we spread that love to those around us. But just feel the love washing over you, blessing you, bathing you with peace, bathing you with love, bathing you with compassion, integrity, inclusiveness. And we know that today, as we go out into the world, one of our jobs is to spread that to others around us, even if it's just going to the grocery store and giving the clerk a really big smile and internally saying, I love you, because you and I are one. Let's go into some silence for a moment and just let that sink in. Feel the love, feel the blessings. Angela's going to play just for a few moments while we're in this place. And as you're basking in the love and the glow, take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Blow out any stress that you might be carrying so that you can focus on the love even more. I send each one of you my blessing, my appreciation, my gratitude. And I am so grateful that we are one. Go ahead and come back into this room and feel your feet on the floor and your back up against the chair. Take some deep breaths and release. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Blessings to all.